Hey, what is up, you sexy beasts? GhostSickness, Tristan here, and I'm bringing you guys NoEnd House 3 Part 2. If you guys have not seen NoEnd House 3 Part 1, or NoEnd House 2, or even NoEnd House 1, I'll link them all in the description below, so you can go check them out before watching this one. Anyway, this is a scary story, so I'm going to end on the story. Remember the fact that I love you guys. I'm going to get right into it. The girl stood up and brushed her hair out of her face. For some reason, even taking how terrifying she should be to David, there was something oddly normal about the girl. She had shoulder-length brown hair and was skinny as a rail with a few specks of freckles across her nose and cheeks. Even her clothes could have been found in any store. Black tank top and jeans tucked into black-red boots. She was older than he first thought, as well, closer to 16, if she even had an age. A hum from behind them startled them both, and dragged David back into his current situation. "We have to go," she said, "now," and the girl grabbed his hand and took off. Surprised, David followed and nearly dropped his phone. He tried to hold it up as far as he could to light the way. "No need." The girl raised her hand in front of her as she spoke. "I got it." She mumbled something under her breath, something that couldn't have been English, and a glowing light pulsated in front of them and followed. It was like a spotlight from above was following their movements. The hum from behind was getting louder as they approached the first fork of the tunnel. Without hesitation, the girl veered them over to the right. Clearly, she knew where she was going, and David wasn't about to argue. After a moment, the humming stopped, and they were stood in front of a ladder leading up to the darkness. "Just up here," and the girl began to climb the ladder before them. David snapped back into reality, and he was incredibly confused. "Wait!" The girl stopped mid-climb and looked over her shoulder. "Look, I know this is weird." No, I know what weird is. I've seen weird. Who are you?" "I'll explain soon, okay? We just kinda really need to get out of here, okay? No one is supposed to be here, and well, we are, so..." And with that, the girl returned to her climb. David was about to retort, but the hum from behind grew louder. Survival outweighed understanding at that point, and David grabbed the ladder and followed the girl, leaving the tunnel for hopefully the last time. The ladder led the pair into an empty room. It almost looked like a huge broom closet. A few scattered buckets and mops were lining the walls, and for being a part of the house, it was very unassuming. The girl next to him shook herself off and shoved her hand towards David. Her mood swings were clearly something to be impressed with, and David reluctantly took her hand and shook it. "You're probably wondering who I am, and why I know you." The girl didn't even wait for David to respond. "My name is Natalie, and this is sort of my house." "What are you talking about? How is this your house? This fucking place isn't your house." I know, but you have to understand what happened. It wasn't always like this. What the hell? What was the thing you did with the light down there?" "Yes, I know. This is all part of it. It just relates. Let me explain." Natalie paused and looked at David. He closed his mouth and looked down at her, letting her know she was free to talk without interruption. "This is my house. I know it may seem like hell right now, and you're right. It is. My family kind of dealt with some weird stuff. We moved into this house about 10 years ago, and it was nice. A small, quaint place. Yeah, considering I'm used to living in the city, but it was nice. The problem is, my family, we can do things. Witches, I guess." Natalie kind of laughed at the thought. "Mostly just parlor tricks, like the light show you saw in the tunnels. But some of us, like my brother, took it a bit too far. He started to mess with some dark dealings, demons and surroundings and the like. I mean, summoning isn't always bad. I can summon a cat, for instance, which is kind of cute, but the way my brother does is far worse. We would try to tell him to end it, but the power was really getting to him. Peter was never one to listen to reason." "Peter?" The idea was circling David's head, but he wasn't quite ready to accept it. Peter had been his friend for years, he thought. "This one night, 7 years ago, my brother took it too far. Summoning demons for a few minutes here and there wasn't enough for him anymore. He needed more. We would ask him why he was so obsessed with all this, and he would only respond by asking, 'Why not?' What happened over the next few nights? It's kind of hard to talk about it." Even with her blackened out eyes, David could tell this memory really pained the young girl. All of this hell, was because of her brother, his friend. It seemed to David that this girl was just as much of a prisoner as he was. "All right," David put his hand on her shoulder, "let's get you out of here then." David took a look at his surroundings. His heart jumped slightly as he glanced around. Aside from the hatch in the floor they just entered through, there wasn't any other exit, just smooth cement walls. "Do you know where we are?" he asked the girl, hoping to God she had some idea. "Yeah, of course," she said, with a bit too much hesitation for David's liking. "It's my house, isn't it?" And with that, she made her way over to one of the far walls. The surface of the wall was a smooth, brushed gray cement. There was no way through, no door, nothing. Natalie reached into her pocket and took out what looked like to be a small piece of artist charcoal. She pressed it to the wall and began to draw a long, swooping line about 3 feet in length. Line after line followed. David watched in awe and admired her work. David had never seen anything like it outside of fantasy movies. It was like a yin-yang mixed with a pentagram mixed with a child's doodle. Natalie placed the charcoal back into her pocket and ran her fingers through her hair. After a moment of silence, she raised her hand and placed her right palm against the symbol, resting 2 fingers against her temple with the other. At first, David thought she was speaking to him, but then realized she was chanting her weird language again. Soon, the symbol looked to be vibrating, and David watched on it as it began to glow a deep, dark purple. Natalie smiled to herself as she felt the wall shake before it split in two. "I've always loved doing that."